And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Let me just fix up my camera. Part of my head is cut off. There we go. Welcome to the Signposts Live. We're going to be getting into introductions here in just a few minutes. But of course, with me is my lovely partner, Breanne. So she's joining us here just for a few minutes today on the Signposts. Breanne, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's so nice to be able to come on here.
We're kind of cramped in between my desk here, so. So I wanted to bring Breanne on because Breanne has done some incredible ratings through her website, and I'm just going to put her website up right now so you guys can check it out. Okay, so it's ratingswithbreanne.com. And Breanne's had some very interesting ratings. She's been doing some current event work through her deep dives. So Breanne, what have you found that's been quite interesting that you want to share with everybody?
Well, I guess since you're going to be kind of deep diving a little bit more into the Trump assassination there, I kind of pulled some cards on this a little while ago when I did do a video, but I found it a little interesting because I actually had the 8 of Wands that came out in reverse along with Magician, so it almost felt like there was this manipulation, so the bullet was either slowed down or there was some kind of intervention there, so I thought that was quite interesting. And it looks like even we had like that Fool in the near future, so I don't know if there's been like some kind of a time, a time shift, I guess you can say, into, smoother things there. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it looks like things are shifting in a much more positive direction.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been kind of looking into, it still seems like there's some chaos happening for sure. But when I was looking into, say France or, Canada and the US, for example, it kind of seems like there's this common recurrence where that 6 of Wands comes out. It's like there's a victory at the end of it. There's a bigger picture and things happening that maybe we can't see with our eyes at the moment, but it does feel like things are gaining momentum and there's a victory at the end of all this. So
that's what I'm getting as well too.
Yeah.
So we were also talking about a situation with India last night as well too. Now the funny thing is I had a vision a few years ago about something regarding an explosion in India. I'm not too sure what that's about, but you were also getting something similar.
Yes, I was kind of reflecting in a meditation last night, planning on doing a completely different video, and Spirit came in and they said an explosion's gonna hit, or big explosion to hit. So I was like, oh, that was a interesting statement that was made. So I tried to look into that a little bit further, and I was given India, and they even gave a specific, I think it was, I could be saying it wrong, but Samata, which is a city in India as well. And I was also getting a lot pertaining to possible flames, and the sun came out when I was working with the tarot on that. So I'm not sure if there's this explosion is related to possibly solar activity, but I also strongly did get something in terms of rain, and I got the word slide. So a lot of flooding,
mudslides, yeah, mudslides coming in.
And there's flooding and going all over the world for sure. So
yeah. Because it was interesting, because like I said, I was doing meditation back in 2018. I was on Vancouver Island at that time. As I was doing meditation, I would just see, like, I was just getting this feeling India and an explosion. Like, wasn't anything that was like hurting the entire country, but it was like an explosion within an area of India. But that was going back like 6 years ago.
Interesting.
So like the whole idea is I capture these events, we just don't have a timestamp on them about when they happen. So when you were saying that yesterday, it just triggered that old meditation vision that I got a long time ago. So very, very interesting there. So how have things been going with clients? Like, you got quite a few clients. Is there some things that are exciting from them that you wanted to share about certain things that they're asking about? Like, because you're doing all kinds of different types of readings, right? So relationships, finances, business.
Yeah. Oh goodness, where do I even
touch base on this? A lot of exposés on the royal family, of course.
Oh yeah, the royal family. That's been something as well. But in terms of clients and tarot sessions, a lot of them are pretty personal. In terms of the questions that have been asked, but even in terms of distance healing, I've had lots of really good people, like really good feedback coming back from clients in terms of them feeling better, and just a lot of like positive feedback there. So it's been a great experience.
Quite a few fans. Yeah, quite a few fans on here, right? So
I am so strongly getting that wind right now.
And Demi is saying hello, Breanne, and hello to you.
Hello, you guys are so sweet.
Trump is not involved with Epstein in any way. Trump visited the island once, never. Yeah, there's all kinds of big discussions here. We're going to get into those discussions all together. So again, you guys can check out Breanne's website. Breanne's website is readingswithbreanne.com. She is taking some personal readings right now. So like I said, you have the option of doing a session with her live over like what, Zoom, Skype?
Yeah, I do. I do have Zoom one-on-one sessions, and then pre-recorded tarot, and I do some healings as well. Crystal grids as well. They're probably one of my favorites. I love doing the crystal grids.
You're also a flying feng shui consultant.
Yes.
Flying star feng shui.
And in the future, I'm just going to be starting to study Chinese astrology as well. So that'll be something exciting for the future.
Very good. All right. Well, Breanne, thank you for popping on here for today. So we're just going to go ahead and take a brief break. When we come back, I'll get everything ready to do the signpost today. So again, guys, remember to check out Breanne's website, readingswithbreanne.com. Check out her YouTube. Her YouTube has incredible deep dives as well too. Like I said, if you guys are fans of Janine or Tarot with Isabella as well too, those two are excellent. But they don't do personal readings. Breanne does personal readings, right? So make sure you're taking advantage of that as well too. Check out readingswithbreanne.com. Her YouTube is linked to the website. She's got a lot of fascinating videos to check out. Breanne, thanks for being with me here.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
Okay, guys, we'll be back here in just a couple of minutes, and we'll get started with the signpost live. See you in about 2 minutes. Okay, so once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Signpost Live. Had that wonderful little prologue with Breanne. So again, as I can suggest, please check her out, right? She does incredible work. Like her and I were just sitting outside last night, and she was just mentioning India to me, and I'm just like getting this flashback of that vision of something pertaining to an explosion. So I can't really say what it may represent. Like I said, I think it's localized in a certain area of India. Like again, Breanne was saying, Samata, I believe. So we'll have to check that out very soon. But something in regards to an explosion or mudslides in India or something of that nature. Right? So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. Now, I'm not going to be doing a zodiac spread today, but I'm going to be looking a little bit deeper into some of the some of the topics we're going to talk about today. One of them, again, is the Trump assassination attempt. Second one is the stock market. And of course, we're going to have time for questions with you guys as well too. I'm already getting a donation-based question, so if you guys do have donation-based questions, you can just get them ready, and I will get to them. They will be in priority order. First and foremost, we're just going to start off with some announcements. Here we go.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AetherX.co.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Get readings with Breanne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Breanne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Breanne's website and book your session today at readingswithbreanne.com.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to move into our tarot readings for the Signposts Live today. So again, I hope you're all doing well. Like I said, I will be taking questions afterwards. And like I said, we really just focus on current event topics here on the Signposts Live. Yesterday, when I'm doing Wisdom Transmissions Live on Wednesdays, that's a different story. We're kind of more universal with the type of questions that we want to take. But today, it's mostly about current events. All right. And then tomorrow, I'll be back on AetherX Live webcast. My cards are slipping out of my hand here. The AetherX Live Healing webcast will be taking place tomorrow. I'll just put that little graphic up here. So this is happening tomorrow morning. I don't have an exact time yet. I'll be letting everybody know, probably between 8 or 9. I have to sometimes fluctuate in between the morning, just depends in regards to what I have to do in the morning. But I usually let everybody know just about 12 hours before I go on what time the AetherX Healing webcast is on. So again, I'll be taking distance healing through the AetherX Healing webcast. I'm also going to start making the AetherX Healing webcast bi-weekly. So because again, I'm still getting quite busy. So every 2 weeks, the AetherX Healing webcast will happen. So we'll have one tomorrow, and then we'll have one in 2 weeks' time after that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just shuffle the cards and just take a look at our first topic representing Donald Trump. Okay, so again, as we noticed a few days ago, that he was in Pennsylvania. He was having a nice conversation. Some people were also thinking that that was Trump's body double, that that was his doppelganger, right? There have been some intuitives, there have been some so-called, I guess you'd say, experts online think, oh, that wasn't really Trump, that was his body double, right? That was one of his doppelgangers in that way. And I think we'll take a look at that first and just getting the idea in that sense of asking, was that the real Donald Trump who was nearly assassinated? Right? Let's take a look at that. I basically already discovered the answer, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at it again. Okay. So let's take a look and saying, was that the real Donald Trump that was at that Pennsylvania rally? Okay. So yes, surprise, surprise. It was definitely him. And I think a lot of people were seeing like the hat and the hair and all that stuff and thinking it was a doppelganger. No, it definitely was him, right? He was out there. He was out there. He was very excited to be out there as well, too. So he talked a lot about how excited he was about this rally. He wanted to be there. And here's the Trump card as well, too. One of my Trump cards. So no, he was definitely there. That was definitely him, right? So I'm not getting the feeling of a doppelganger. I'm not getting a deception card or an illusion card or anything of that nature. Giving the impression that it was a doppelganger. That was actually him, right? Second thing that people say is, oh, well, Brad, this must have been a staged event. This event was staged. I said, really? How was it staged? I said, well, you know, they're going on stage and they're like, they have like a blood pack on him and they're like rubbing blood on him. Like, why would they do that? Why would they do that? You know, the shooter was like a Hollywood stuntman and he was like firing an air rifle. Then how did a bullet graze his ear? Oh, well, you know, it's just all these conspiracy theories that come out. I would say dumb conspiracy theories, really. But we'll take a look at that. We'll just ask the question, was the assassination attempt on Donald Trump a staged event? Was it completely staged? Was it completely faked? Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's see. No, it was very real. Okay, this was not a staged event. This was something that was culminating into something even better, right? This was kind of like a wake-up call. This is, again, what caused so many people to wake up. And I don't think the people that were shy in voting for him in the past are shy anymore. There's a lot of people that are kind of just coming out and saying, no, I'm voting for him. I'm voting for him, right? This was very much real. This was a very, very real event. Now, what was definitely happening was that this was a preconceived notion for them to try to take him out. This is exactly why part of the building to which I would just refer to the perpetrator was actually just walking around prior to going on top of the building. There's actually video cameras taking pictures of him, video of him walking around the building, finding exactly where he needed to go, right? So they were actually capturing this Crooks guy, the perpetrator, right? But they could actually see him. He was just like walking around the building, looking up, doing all that prior to, it was like an hour or so before he actually got on the building. So he was investigating the entire site. I don't know if he was walking around with a rifle or something. I think he was. And nobody was doing anything, right? So the part of this that was preconceived was the idea of letting this particular shooter come on, this perpetrator, I should say, letting this perpetrator just go up the building with the police and law enforcement acting stupid, right? So basically you could say that there are routes in Pennsylvania where the law enforcement is basically in the back pocket of the dark cabal, okay? And that's quite common. A lot of their police chiefs, a lot of their higher ups in law enforcement in many states of the US are in the back pocket of the dirty players, the dark players, right? So that is what was extremely unusual. What was not unusual in that sense is, again, what happened to Trump, right? That was not unusual. That was very real. But it was very much a preconceived idea of assassination attempt. Again, just basically making sure no law enforcement officer was to notice the perpetrator climbing up to the roof like a grizzly bear with a rifle strapped to his back. And there were even people in the crowd like pointing at that guy. Hey, do you see that guy? And the cops are like, what? Huh? Where? And they're just idiotically looking up in the air. It's like, come on, he's like right there. Do you not see him? Oh, what? Yeah. And this is where the ridiculous is now. Now, I can understand that this is why people think that it was a staged event, because of how ignorant and idiotic the police were. But that doesn't make the idea of the attempt on Trump's life a staged event. It was a preconceived event because, like I said, they have a lot of these higher ups in the back pockets of the dirty players, these higher ups that run law enforcement. It could even be, again, the mayor of the town as well too, may also be in the back pocket, right? There are quite a few people that were anticipating that Trump would not leave that rally alive, okay? And here's the thing, guys, they would not take all of that time, they would not put all of that effort together to take out one of his doppelgangers, okay? Trump on average has about 2 to 3 doppelgangers, okay? But those doppelgangers were not there. It was very much Trump himself. They were very much aware that he was excited about going to Pennsylvania. He has a love for going on stage and getting all that attention. He loves going on there. He loves campaigning, right? He really wants to go and do the campaign. He doesn't want to leave it to a lot of his doppelgangers. There's some people saying, oh, it wasn't him. He was like ready to go to a boxing match that night. Really? A boxing match? A sporting event? Do you see how that doesn't make sense? Could you imagine, again, a person like Trump with the popularity that he has going to a sporting event while other people are seeing him in Pennsylvania? That makes no sense. That's not correct at all, okay? So again, I'm not too sure where a lot of these people are getting this information because it's just a bunch of garbage, but no, it's very much him, and you're not going to have the real Trump over at a sporting event when you have people with mobile cameras that could take pictures. Okay, well, Trump's right here. Why is he in Pennsylvania at the same time? Doesn't work that way, okay? That's idiocy. This is very much the real Trump that was at the Pennsylvania rally, okay? So what we're going to look at through the cards is we're going to take a look at the motive behind the assassination, so to speak. Okay, so we're going to kind of look at the dirty player's perspective. Okay, what were they looking to achieve? What were their obstacles? What was their outcome of being able to do this, of being able to take out Trump? I'm sure some of us may know that, but nonetheless, we're going to take a look at the cards and just see what the cards say about this whole situation, looking at the dirty player perspective, just what I refer to them as, dark cabal, etc. But the dirty players, right? The dirty regime, about what their intention was pertaining to this rally and what they were trying to accomplish by taking Trump out. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay. Okay, well, they thought that it would basically boost their capability to keep Biden in power, to basically still keep their position intact, but it wouldn't have. It would have led to a further downfall of them, even if it did succeed, which it hasn't, right? So like I said, they're playing out of an occult book. This is their occult playbook. This is their occult agenda book, right? There are people who go back, like I said, I've even looked at this several months back, being able to see an assassination attempt on Trump that would fail, right? I even said that on the webcast. I said, I get the feeling that there'll be assassination attempts with Trump, but I don't feel that they'll succeed. I think they will fail, but there'll certainly be an attempt on his life, right? And I've seen other psychics, mediums, intuitives, readers in that sense, who have said the same thing. They go back several months, astrologists as well too, who are saying, yeah, I get the feeling that there's going to be an assassination attempt on Trump, but I don't feel it's going to succeed. A lot of us have said that, right? So I'm not the only one. There's quite a few of us here. The next step right now is, because that has failed, they're trying to figure out new plans, right? So there's more theories around and saying, no, we'll still try and take out Trump. We'll still take out Trump. I said, you're wasting your time. It's not going to do anything. You cannot take him out, right? What's one of their plans? Oh, well, Biden has COVID now. Biden has tested positive for COVID. Really? That's your best excuse of getting him out? Forget about his physical condition, about his mental condition. Oh, it's COVID. And now we're going to take him out. And now we're going to set the campaign trail for somebody new. And that's basically their new plan. So their new plan is figuring out who is going to basically battle Trump, that Biden is going to start being taken out of the picture now. He's pretty much going to be taken out of the picture. If he has tested positive for COVID, then there's going to be somebody else that's going to take his place. And some people are thinking that it may be Kamala Harris, but she would be eaten alive. So I think they're trying to bring out somebody else. So they're kind of in a pitfall right now. They don't really know who to bring in that will basically try to tackle Trump, because Trump would completely destroy them. So right now, they're very limited on resources. This is what I'm saying, is that the dark cults, right, the dirty players, are very much on their last legs. When I'm getting a card like this and saying, you guys don't really have many options left, do you? Nope. We got maybe about one or two things, and that's about it. This is telling me how frail they are. This is telling me how fragile they are. This is telling me how much of a lack of leadership that they have. They don't really have any leadership. It almost feels like, to me, in many different ways, that they're winging these things and thinking, oh, okay, maybe if we do this, we'll be successful. They're clumsy, they're idiotic. And like I said, to me, this still feels like this is has a counterforce mix in it, that they're still just basically doing all this to further a story, to further a three-ring circus in the background as well too. Potential outcome is that, again, they're focused on trying to get Trump out of the picture, but they're leaving a lot of gaps. They're leaving a lot of holes for themselves. They are emotionally distraught that they're losing, right? And like I said, I think there's going to be some trickery behind the scenes. I think that they're going to probably throw another false flag in there. They're probably going to do another psyop. They're probably going to do something that is trying to buy them time, or maybe they will try to sabotage an election. Right? There's many different things that they can still, I'd say a couple of different things that they can try, right? But it may represent the idea of pulling the wool over people's eyes, probably trying to sabotage this election, doing everything they can to try to not make it happen, right? Even if they did try to put a new player on there, that would try to take over, that would try to run in Biden's place, it's going to be very, very difficult for them because Trump he has such a momentum right now. It's like trying to suppress a phoenix that's rising up from the ashes. You just can't do it. And so I think what they're going to try and do is try to sabotage an election, try to prevent an election from actually happening, because I just don't think they have confidence in the runner-ups, whether it's Gavin Newsom, whether it's Michelle Obama, whether they're trying to use Kamala Harris or anything of that nature. I don't think that's going to be enough. I think that none of them are going to be able to stand up to Trump. Trump will burn them alive, right? And with his new vice president, J.D. Vance, those two, that's a power team right there. That's like looking at a dynamic duel, right? And they're pretty much on a wave of unstoppability right now. I don't know if that's a word, but they're pretty much unstoppable with the momentum that they're having right now. So this is why they're thinking, should we battle them? Should we try and sabotage this election from actually happening? And I think that's what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and pull wool over people's eyes, try and find every single excuse to try to sabotage an election from actually happening. But I do feel it will happen, but they're still going to try and sabotage it, right? So now this old Biden's out of the picture now. He has COVID, right? And now he's out of the picture. And now they're trying to come up with a new Ponzi scheme, right? So they're pulling the wool over people's eyes. And they may say, oh, well, he may be unfit to run now, and maybe we can't have an election. Who knows? Whatever nonsense they pull. All that card is really saying is that they're trying to have a backup plan. They're basically trying to put a veil over to try and create a smokescreen surrounding this entire election. However they do it, could be a couple options, whether getting a new player or, again, trying to sabotage the elections. Right? But it's not going to succeed. From what I'm really seeing here, the momentum ahead, the strong momentum ahead, is that Trump will come out on top. Right? He's an unstoppable force right now. And the reason why he's an unstoppable force is because he has so much support around him. He has so much support. It's amazing. You just look at his energy. It's like I said, it's like a phoenix just blazing, and you can't take it out. Right? It doesn't matter if you have the biggest fire hose trying to spray down the fire of the phoenix. It's just not going to work. Right? The phoenix is just overwhelming. It's just right. It's this blazing inferno that he represents, and his entire administration represents, his supporters represent. He is on fire. And even with the whole Democratic regime, they're basically having their donors freeze the assets of like 90 million. They said, no, as long as Biden's there, we're not going to give you this money, right? So this is the whole idea. They're basically being clamped with their financial backing at the same time. So like I said, it's quite a mess. But like I said, I also think that this is just all part of a three-ring circus. It's scripted, one thing after another. All of a sudden, Biden has COVID. Let's forget about the other issues that he's had over the years. Let's forget about he doesn't know how to walk off a stage. He doesn't know where I am. He probably doesn't even know his own name. He's just blurting things out at random. And, oh, no, just give him COVID. Get him off the stage. Because they don't want to deny that, they don't want to admit that he has these other things. Right? It's just, this is what I'm talking about, the three-ring circus stupidity, this nonsense that they're spinning on about, okay? So looking at the entire attempted assassination, it was basically them trying to put a clinch pin on this whole movement and stop it, and try to commend Trump as like a hero, a presidential hero, but he's gone now, and now business will be as usual with Biden, right? That was really their whole plan. But of course, it backfired, it failed. And like I've said, because I did a video just a few days, just on the day that it happened, and I said that this is divine intervention. This is intervention. This is telling me that there is so much protection, divine protection around Trump, that he's unstoppable. You can't stop him. Doesn't matter what you try to do. Doesn't matter what you try to sabotage. And they realize that. As I've always said, they do not do the same thing twice. They do it once, and then they have to think of a new plan. Right? So they're not going to go to another rally and try to do it again. They won't. They'll get caught. Right? So the whole idea is, like I said, the people start to evolve. They start to advance. They start to become a lot more aware of what attempts these dark players try to play as these other particular Ponzi schemes fail. So like I said, they can't do the same thing twice. This is why I've said, you're not going to have another COVID shutdown, because they don't do the same thing twice, right? They do it one time, they run it. If that fails, that is marked off their checkbook, and they have to go somewhere. They have to do something else, right? You can't have a second lockdown. You can't have a second assassination attempt. Done, done, done. This is an occult playbook. Occult rules work in different ways. It's not like the idea of looking at a businessman and seeing exactly what they are putting together on a checklist. Oh, if that fails, okay, try it again, try it again, try it again. No, not in the occult world. You don't do that, okay? If it fails, you cross it out and you go and you find an entirely new, different plan. So that's what they're doing. But like I said, because they have such a great lack of leadership, they're just going to fumble over their own feet. Anything they try to do is going to horrendously fail, right? So we're really looking at the complete and total failure of the dark players, right? Like I said, they're only around just to serve a purpose in front of the scenes. And there's only just a handful of them left really in front of the scenes before there is a complete and total scrubbing down of them. And that's really where 2025 comes in. But we're going to be looking at that at a later time. But as a sneak preview, we're looking at chaos. And we're looking at 2025. It is going to be complete and total radical chaos, because a lot of them are going to be taken down. And there's going to be all kinds of smear campaigns, and there's all going to be all kinds of infighting. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a government shutdown in 2025 when Trump gets in, because I feel most likely he will. Can't put a 100% stamp on it, but it's very, very likely, right? But like I said, there feels like there's going to be a major cleanup, a major scrubbing. Like again, when the first time that Trump was in office, he was trying to clean the swamp. He doesn't need to start off slow. He's going to go right in like a house of fire and just burn down everything that represents the corrupt, right? And I've seen this quite clearly. Like he's just going in, he means business, and there's going to be fighting, infighting. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be, it's not pretty, okay? But the good news is that it's not going to get super out of control as we think it will be. It's going to be contained. But there's going to be a lot of stories on MSM about chaos happening, about people not being able to get money out of bank accounts, about the idea of banks starting to shut down, right? There's a lot of that. And I think the idea of banking shutdown is going to be either at the very end of this year or the start of next year. This is what I talk about with the ATM scandals. That is about to happen. Okay? So what I would recommend for all of you, take your money out of your accounts now. Right? Make sure you have some money taken out. It doesn't have to be all of it, but try to take some more of it. Have a lot on hand. Have a reserve amount. Right? I know some of you may only be, well, Brad, I'm just basically living off a small paycheck in that way. Okay, well, do your best to try and keep that with you, because like I said, over the next little while, there's going to be bank shutdowns. Okay, there's going to be bank collapses. Okay, we're going to be looking into the stock market here very shortly as well too. But from what I'm getting, like I said, it's either maybe around the tail end of the year or starting into early next year, approximately around there. Like I said, I don't always give dates. I just give padding times, cushion times of when this is possible. And I could be wrong. It may even start a bit later, or it may start a little bit earlier. That's just how it is. I don't really have a way of putting timestamps on these things. But again, I'm reading the signposts, right? And banking systems are about to be completely and totally overhauled. So to me, it feels like the entire debt, enslavement, Babylonian magic money system is about to die, all of it. And this is what is going to lead to, I feel, a stock market crash, or again, what looks like a stock market crash. And that's going to be the next thing that we're going to look into. Okay, is there a stock market crash that's looking to happen over the next few months, either late 2024 or early 2025? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that now. Make sure I give the cards a good shuffle. So let's see how things are going about the stock market. Okay, so I'll just basically say that the stock market is really just my subject, and I'll see exactly where it is going. Okay, so, oh yeah, the stock market is a sinking ship. It is just ready to fall apart. Yeah. Okay. So right now, where is the stock market? It's ready to fall. It's ready to basically fall apart, right? I think there may be some serious withdrawing from the stock market as we start moving ahead here. This is again where it is presently. It's like taking a snapshot of it right now. And it's basically trying to move out of troubled waters. But those troubled waters are only going to increase. And it feels like there may be an overhaul pertaining to everything representing the stock market. So like I said, there's a lot of different things that are happening pertaining to overhauls of systems, right? So we may start to see a brand new stock market come together. As one falls, something new comes about. So the old is going to fall, the new is going to rise. So, right, this may represent the idea of the birth of a new financial system. So like I said, there is going to be a transitional period pertaining to the falling away of banks, pertaining to the falling away of the stock market, but something new is going to rise within it, right? There's going to be a genesis that will take place that is going to reboot the stock market into perhaps again a whole new foundry of opportunity. So I don't see it permanently dying. I do feel it again dying, right? Because that's what's happening here. This is the old stock market basically being trampled over, but something new is going to take its place. Okay. When we're looking at strength and resources, doesn't really have that much. People are going to start walking away. I think there's just going to be a period where people are just going to sell. So bailout, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here, right? Abandon ship, get out of here, sell your stock, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. Something is going to trigger that, right? There's going to be some sort of large event or a series of events that is going to take place that are just going to cause a lot of stockholders just to sell their stock big time, right? I can't say to what this will be, but to me, this is telling me this is a bailout. It's like, get the hell out of here, get out of here, sell your stock immediately. Prices are going down. The stock market's about to implode. Let's get out of here. Potential outcome. This is a good thing. This is a very, very good thing that the stock market is about to implode. Okay. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be at the point where it's devastating everybody and everybody's going to be frantic and it's going to be a war about it or anything like that nature. But there's going to be a severe spiking down of the stock market, and it feels like there's going to be a rebooting, right? But when this is taking place, people are going to be guarding their finances, of course. People are going to be guarding all of their materialistic possessions. They're going to be guarding everything. They're going to be holding on to everything. And they're getting prepared. I think people right now are actually getting prepared because they can kind of see the writing on the wall, right? The stock market looks like it is about to fade away. The old stock market, I'll say, there's going to be a new one, but the old one is going to collapse. This is what I was saying before. I said, okay, well, I do feel like an old one is going to go down, but at the same time, a new one is going to come up, right? I don't think it's going to lead to like a worldwide disaster or shortage or anything of that nature, but it is going to be kind of a shock and awe campaign that something new is happening, that there's a potential for something new to take its place. And it's going to be a transitional phase. And this, again, I feel will affect the banks. And I think the banks themselves are going to collapse. And I think this is what's going to create the ATM scandals. So basically, as I was talking about in the early part of the year, of two big events. Number one, the ATM scandals. People running to ATMs trying to withdraw money because they are seeing how banks are being told that they're going to be shutting down. And there's just going to be lineups and lineups and lineups of people trying to get to ATMs, try to get cash out, because those are the last minute people. Don't be the last minute person, right? If you want to take my advice, then go for it. If not, hey, it's up to you. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people being crowded around ATMs, right? They're trying to withdraw cash, and all of a sudden the ATMs are empty. They have no money left. People are panicking, right? But like I said, I don't know how far this panic is going to go. I feel, like I said, it's going to be localized in a certain area, but I feel like there's going to be something that is going to be a relief that's going to come up at the same time. But while this is happening, people are kind of seeing the writing on the wall, and they're going to ATMs and they're trying to withdraw, and people are trying to go all across town to find an ATM that actually has money in it, right? So there could be, I'm not too sure if that's going to affect a mass amount of area or certain areas in that way. But I feel like this is going to hit Canada, this is going to hit US, this is going to hit UK, this is going to hit a lot of different countries altogether with banks going down. Like I said, I think the entire central banking cartel is about to fall. I think because there's some coups d'etats that are taking place right now that is going to lead to the complete and total folding of the banking system as we know it right now, and it's going to reboot into something else. Okay, and I think it's probably going to happen around the time that if Trump does get in, I think he'll be making an announcement with that. And I don't think it's just him. I think there's going to be other leaders around the world that are going to be making some big announcement in regards to financial change. That's the next thing we're going to look into. When this stock market crash does happen, when this banking, kind of like the belly up of the bankers happen, is there going to be an announcement? Is there going to be a fail-safe? Is there going to be something that a lot of world leaders will be announcing that represents the remedy to these situations? Okay, so we'll kind of take a look at the leaders in power at the time the stock market goes down, and the idea of the banks themselves starting to go down as well too. First, let's ask the question. I think before I go into that, let's ask the question about the banks. Okay, let's ask and see that what is the situation with the banks right now? What's happening with them? Where are they going? Okay, then we'll go into that question. So I think people still want to know about, well, tell me more about the banks first. What's happening with the banks? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Got a lot of stuff to look at today, huh? All right. So let's take a look at the banking, the entire banking cartel. Where are they right now? Well, here's the thing. It's already done. It's already done. Everything that's basically happening right now is for dramatic purposes because of this card. Okay. Where are the banks right now? They've already been overhauled. They've already been done. They've already been set up for an entirely new financial system to come about. What you're seeing in front of the scenes is just the window dressings of things that have already been taken care of. That's the great news. So this is why I think that this is not going to be as bad as people think it is. Okay, stock markets crash. You already know, already taken care of the stock market. It's already ready to go on the new financial system. Okay, well, the bank's about to crash. Yeah, we know. We're already taken care of that. We've already overhauled all the banks. They're already ready for the new financial system to roll out. Okay, that is exactly what this card is telling me. Okay, so this is the banks where they are right now. Everything that represents their downfall is window dressings. Okay, it's an in front of the scenes Hollywood scene, right? Where it appears as if the banks are going down. This is why I kind of get the feeling that some of these things are just going to be isolated. It's almost like there's isolated incidences of people getting to ATMs and stuff like that. Is that still going to work out? Yeah, I think a lot of people are still going to take money out of the bank account, and that there may be some dry ATMs taking place, but that is an in front of the scenes notion just because of this, right? As I've talked about for years, from when I've looked at other cards and other readings, they've said, well, we've pretty much already taken care of all the banks. The banks are basically ready to go. They're ready to launch this new financial system. It's like what I've talked about when you know that counter forces are coming in and basically redesigning the entire banks, overhauling them. This is why I've said 2024 is the year of overhaul. Everything is getting overhauled, but it's happening behind the scenes, right? So that, again, represents the nature of 2024. Everything's overhauled. Everything's ready for this collapse, whether it's happening late 2024, early 2025, or a little bit later, whatever it may be. Again, I don't know the exact timestamp. But what I'm getting here is that this is prepared. This is, as a matter of fact, when I'm looking at all these cards, which I'm going to show you guys in a moment, there's nothing bad about this at all. Okay. So next step is the idea in that sense of the new banking systems coming online. There is a whole new banking system that's going to come together that is going to basically completely and totally expunge debt, expunge taxes. I think we probably even will see income taxes reform. The idea of taxation throughout this new system is not going to be present. This is why it's a really, really good card here with the Queen of Wands. There's kind of a feminine energy with the way that the banking systems are going to come out. It is the expunging of debt. It is the expunging of taxes, right? All of it is going to die. So I don't think we're going to be in a Babylonian magic money system for much longer. Again, I don't have an exact date of when this is happening, but to me, it feels like it's happening pretty quickly. Okay. And this is what I've talked about before. So we're moving much more into a very different type of financial system that is not based on debt. A lot of it's going to be based on merit, right? It's almost like they're trying to prepare a meritocracy. right? It's basically for people with merit that will basically have positions of authority and so forth. And that it's not going to be about debt. It's actually going to be giving it back. This is what I talk about with prosperity programs, not Nasera, not Gesera, but prosperity programs when it comes to everybody's debt. It's basically going to be wiped clean. Taxation is going to be a thing of the past as well too. Just as far as like income tax, hyperinflation, all of that stuff is going to be gone. Is there still going to be tax upon items? I don't know. I don't think so, but we'll just have to see, right? So the obstacle in that sense is that this still just takes time. It's in the running. It's on the running. And like I said, it's kind of like the analogy I give of the chessboard, right? Where the king of the finances, right? The old dirty player, king of the finances is still there and he's in the corner and now all the pieces are surrounding. You gonna do a stupid move? Go ahead, do a stupid move. So I think we're in that stupid move portion right now. And a stupid move will happen. And basically that is what's going to lead to the complete and total downfall of the financial system. Just like we're seeing the corruption of these leaders falling apart. They've made stupid moves. And now people are starting to see the truth. They're starting to get behind these leaders that actually have a lot more ethical promise to themselves. And we're seeing it, okay? When we look at strength and resources, this is already here. We got pretty much the entire fortune of the entire planet backing us up with the new financial system. And not only is that, we're going to be dedicating a lot more finances towards environmental cleanup. We're going to eliminate environmental destruction. Everything is going to be overhauled. Everything is not only going to be brought into overhaul, but it's going to be brought into great fruition at the same time. This is a really positive reading. And I was looking at a dreadful topic about the whole idea of what this whole banking cartel situation is going to do to people, right? Thinking that it's going to leave people high and dry, but it's not, okay? Potential outcome is that, again, we got the Hermit. So this represents introspection. This represents the idea of seeking the truth. A lot of exposures that are going to come pertaining to banking cartels. And we'll take a look at the near future. Yep, access denied pertaining to, the old financial system, the dirty players in that sense. They're not even going to really have access to this new financial system. Whatever the new financial system is, however it's carried out, which I don't know. There's a lot of theories on the internet, and that's fine. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. But from what I'm getting, whatever the new financial system is, it is going to lock out the dirty players altogether so they can't access their resources, right? They are going to get locked out completely. The old banks are basically going to get locked out. Everything that represents the old cartels are going to get locked out. There is a lockdown happening pertaining to the old financial institutions because, again, the old needs to die, and at the same time it's dying, the new is rising up. This is very, very exciting to see because, like I said, through the course of this reading, I don't really see anything negative, right? The only card that's a little bit troublesome is this, because this is representing the idea of the locking out of the financial systems. But I don't think that's towards the people. I feel it's much more because the question is about the banking cartels, right? The banking cartels are being locked out. All of the gang members, all of the criminal cartel members, the dirty players are basically being locked out. So it's not looking good for them at all. They are going to be completely and totally starved. They'll have nothing left. Doesn't matter if they're trying to rob countries with taxation, with hyperinflation, with carbon tax. Doesn't matter. That money will be no good for them, right? They'll just basically, it's almost like looking at marked bills, and they'll be taken down. Some people have asked, well, Brad, all the money that I have in my bank, is that going to be transferable to the new financial system? Absolutely. You will not lose it. Okay. And I've looked at that many times before. I've looked at that several times and saying, okay, when this new financial system comes online, am I going to lose things? Am I going to lose my property? Am I going to lose my bank account? Am I going to lose all the money I got in there? No. Everything will be completely and totally transferable to the new financial system. When I'm talking about them, right, the dark cartels losing everything, like I said, it's like the epitome of having marked bills because they have mass quantities of this money. It's not really hard to follow their paper trails. And they're basically going to have just a bunch of paper money. It's not going to be worth the ink that it's printed on. And the numbers that are on their screen isn't going to be worth the amount the numbers show on the digital screen, right? So they're going to be completely and totally run dry. And this is why they're panicking. And what they're basically going to say is just, let's start chaos. Okay, we start chaos. We start doing terrorist attacks. We start doing false flag agendas. We start doing psyops because they're locked out, and they will go into all-out panic mode. And like I said, you will start to see some local situations unfolding, isolated events taking place, like I said, of chaos. But I don't think it's going to be widespread. I think it's going to be in isolated areas, okay? Because they're going to basically blow the whistle, and they will do everything for their little minion followers to raise as much hell as possible, because they're about to go down, okay? And that's why I think the early part of 2025 is going to be very chaotic. It is going to be very violent. It is going to be very aggressive. There's going to be a lot of fire around it, okay? But at the same time, I feel like it's isolated in certain ways, okay? I don't see the entire country, whether it's the US or Canada or UK or Australia, etc., being burned down by these psychopaths. I do feel, again, there will be some anger. There will be some very, very strong volatile energies in the air. But the majority of people, like I said, are behind the new leaders that are going to be coming in. So it's going to be very, very different. Okay, now again, I'm going to go to the other point that I was going to before the banking cartel information. But I think a lot of that I kind of answered my question in regards to how the banking system is going to unfold. So we're going to look at the the world leaders situation, right? Let's take a look at this as post-banking downfall, right? Or let's say post-switch of the banking cartel, how the leaders will respond to this, right? Are there going to be announcements for that? So kind of like taking a look at the world leaders' perspectives, right? Leaders of countries. After this banking situation, this banking shenanigans happen, what are they going to be like? What is going to happen with a lot of the world leaders on the planet when this hits the fan, okay? And see what they will do, how they will respond, okay? They're going to be partying it up. That's what it kind of feels like to me. Yay! Great! We're going to celebrate with this. Wonderful. The mofos representing the dark cartels are out of here, folks. Right? Are we looking at EBS announcements, emergency broadcast system announcements? There will not be a need for that. It can be something that can just be shared through a simple address. So to me, it feels like there is going to be, like I said, just simple addresses, business as usual. But it feels like there are leaders that are already getting prepped to prepare themselves to making these announcements, right? So there's going to be a lot of announcements that's following. The next step is that I feel like they got this in the bag. They are celebrating this, right? The ones that are basically on the people's side, you could say, are really celebrating this and say, you guys don't need to worry about that. Believe me, we're going to keep you completely in the know. We are going to let everybody know about what's happening, this new financial system that comes about. There obviously has to be announcements about it, right? I don't really see any obstacles. The obstacles I'm seeing is that people are just working to get together. It's just like the idea when these new leaders come into power, they're all working together as a big unit, right? That's not an obstacle to me. That seems something that's very, very good. The strengths, well, like I said, they're mobilizing. They're mobilizing for this big coup d'etat. Because I said, we don't know exactly when this is going to happen. I don't have a timestamp on when this is going to happen. But when there is that post-banking switch, then there are going to be leaders who are going to respond, okay? Potential outcome is that people are going to be very afraid of this at first, right? Again, it's representing that the whole world is, coming against them in that sense. But at the same time, it can also represent the idea that there's a lot of workload. There's a lot of things that need to be done before this comes about, which is just happening right now. Things need to play out. But again, some people may be afraid of this bank falling apart, the banking cartels falling apart, not knowing exactly what's happening, and they need to be informed. But at the same time, there still is quite a few steps that need to be taken. They're, like I said, they're preparing a coup d'etat. And what's happening here, it feels like there will be some financial transformations taking place, giving back to people, not all at once, of course, but programs that are going to start unfolding to basically relieve debt and start bringing about, I don't want to use that term, universal basic income, but basically having financial prosperity programs that are going to be coming about. A lot of the wealth is going to be given back to the people, okay? That's what I'm getting. So like I said, we have to see exactly how this is playing out. But overall, I'm not seeing something too bad. Like I said, the potential outcome is just telling me that there's still a lot of steps, and people may panic about these situations that are coming. But again, they're going to be extremely short-lived. You are not going to lose your money. You are not going to lose your assets. You are not going to lose any of those particular forms of valuables. They will still be completely and totally transferable into the new financial system, as I've talked about before. So we're just seeing that come a little bit closer. All right. So guys, I know I did quite a few tarot readings on this because these are big topics, but nonetheless, this is what I'm getting. And like I said, I'm not saying I have the gospel here. I'm just giving you guys a perspective as things are right now. Can things change? Absolutely. Can things shift into a different direction? They certainly can. But nonetheless, right now, like we're taking a snapshot, this is what we're seeing through that snapshot right now. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to questions. And we got quite a lot of comments. So I'm going to always start off with the donation-based questions first. So again, if you want to leave a donation and post your question, that puts you in priority sequence. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with the first one here. This one is from Life is Magic. So hello, Life is Magic. Thanks for your donation. Oliver Bates, CEO of Alliance, is planning to buy over 51% of NTUC income. How will it impact insurance policyholders in Singapore if it goes through? So let's take a look at insurance policyholders from their perspective. Okay, so we'll take a look at Singapore insurance policyholders, just seeing what happens if Alliance is planning to buy over 51% of NTUC income. Okay, what will happen to the insurance policyholders in Singapore? So we'll take a look at that. So we're just looking at everything from the insurance policyholders' perspective. Okay. Okay. Well, from where they are right now, I think they may be quite concerned about this situation, of course. Because again, insurance policy holders, guys, when you look at insurance holders altogether, they're basically corrupt to the bone, right? When you're looking at insurance sales, when you're looking at insurance corporations and so forth, they've almost felt like some sort of untouchable entity. But I also feel in that sense that they are going to be going through a major dilemma. Okay, so insurance policy holders for Singapore, when this situation unfolds, let me just move my mouse here. Okay, if Alliance is planning to buy over 51% of NTUC income, it's going to impact them greatly. Okay, they're going to have a very, very rough time with that changeover if it does take place. Okay, and I feel like it probably will here. The obstacle in that sense is there may be a complete and total overhaul of that NTUC income in that way. But from what I'm seeing, this may actually be a very good thing. Okay, so again, we're getting here from strengths and resources. This feels like a conglomeration. This feels like a merging that's taking place. And there may be some desperate folks at that time. Like I said, this is why I'm getting the next step here being some rough times, because it may almost be like they're culling out old insurance policy holders, and maybe some of them will lose a lot of that potential. But at the same time, this feels like something that's very, very rewarding. Okay, so with the NTUC income, it looks like it's going to be revamped into something new, right? Revamped into something better, because again, they're blowing the whistle on something that may have been corrupt. Right? Again, I'm not too sure of the NTUC income. I don't know about all these things that you're talking about. I'm just reading the cards as they come about. So to me, it feels like there's an overhaul taking place relating to the NTUC income. Okay, there's going to be a new form of it, new transformation of it, something shifting. So impact insurance policy holders. Some may bail themselves out, right? And some, again, it feels like it's a brand new overhaul of the system relating to Alliance. So I feel like they're overhauling with everything that represents. But like I said, I don't really have information in regards to what these particular things are, but I'm just reading the cards as they come out, giving you a forecast. Okay, so something transformative, something very good will come out of it. That's what I'm getting. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's go to Back Bottoms. Love the name. Beck Bottoms asks, from the 2020 elections, explaining BRICS to speaking about censorship over 10 years ago. Thank you, Brad, for helping me read the landscape. Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know if that's a question or not. Just seems like more of a comment. So, okay, no problem. Like I said, I don't think you have a question. I can't really find a question there. But I think BRICS is going to be taking on a much more bigger role than what they are right now, because we call them BRICS, but like I said, it's much more bigger than BRICS. That's kind of like an in front of the scenes alliance. There's a much bigger alliance behind the scenes, but they're using the figurehead of BRICS. But this is something that's much bigger than BRICS. Like I said, even if we're going to start looking at them and they were wondering if we're going to see a new BRICS coin coming together, you don't really need to focus on them, right? They're kind of just like a figurehead for a much bigger alliance that's behind the scenes that is really about to shift everything, representing an overhaul. So BRICS just feels like, again, a sigil, a figurehead that's just in front of the scenes indicating a type of alliance. But the alliance is far more vast than everything that represents the BRICS alliance. The BRICS alliance really is just, like I said, window dressing of an alliance group, but it's much more vast than what BRICS itself is. So anyways, thank you for your comment. Okay, let's go to Beth Going. Beth Going asks, is gold or silver better to hold? Okay, I would say it really doesn't matter. I don't think I even need to look at the cards for this, because I've talked about this before. It doesn't really matter if you're holding gold or if you're holding silver, because they're still regulated, right? Gold and silver still has regulation protocols, regulation policies put upon it to basically completely and totally stunt its value. Its value is far more greater than what's coming together in the stock market right now. And I think that's why a lot of people are stocking up on it, because there's going to be a point to where silver and gold themselves are going to become far more valuable, right? So I'd say if you have quite a lot of silver, silver seems to be getting a little bit more of the lead, right? But gold, in that sense, still represents a very strong asset, because at some particular point, the regulations on gold and silver is going to drop, and their value is going to skyrocket a great deal more. So really, honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have lots of gold, if you have lots of silver. They are both going to be highly valuable in the times ahead. And that may represent the idea of when the stock market shifts, we may start to see, again, regulatory committees start dropping a lot of policies relating to the withholding of the true value of gold and silver, because that is something that is worth a lot more than what it's being sold as, right? And they're doing that because the last thing that the elitists want is gold-backed income or silver-backed income or anything of that nature, right? But I think that that's going to be very much a big part of the financial system. That's a theory, but I feel that that's exactly what's going to be happening. Is there's going to be a lot more legal tender available. There's going to be a lot more resource-based backed an economy taking place in that way. But right now, that simply just remains the theory. Okay, thank you, Beth. All right, so let's go to some of the other questions here. I'm just going to go up the top and kind of work my way down. So again, guys, thank you for enjoying that short time with Breanne. Okay, if you want to find Breanne on YouTube, you can just go on the search bar and just type in "Readings with Breanne." Okay, so that's BREANNE. Readings with Breanne. Just type that in. I don't know what her URL address is for YouTube, but just type that in and you'll find her there, and you can start watching a lot of her videos. Okay, she's great. But like I said, she's very affordable with sessions. You guys should be getting a private session with her, right? She's amazing. Okay, so again, thank you for your loving support of that, guys. I really appreciate it. Okay. All right, let's go down a little bit further. Let's see here. Okay, so this is from Jig 1954. Apologize if I don't get you guys' name right. I apologize for that. Janine found it was not the real Trump and it was staged by the White Hats. Again, I can't speak for another person, right? Like I said, I love Janine. I have nothing but respect and appreciation for her. But with all respect, that's not what I got at all, right? And I'm giving you guys the perspective that I've been given. It very much was the real Trump, because I mean, you have to really look at it from the perpetrator's eyes, they would not try to invest all of that energy to try to take out a doppelganger. Okay? And the feeling in that sense of it being staged by the White Hats makes no sense at all. Trump doesn't need an event like that to get popular. Okay? If he was dwindling in the polls, if Biden was kicking his butt, right, then he could probably use something like that. But that's not at all as it is. He is dominating this race. And you do not need to put together a staged event for him to try and buy sympathy. First of all, that's not how he works. Second of all, that makes no sense to where he is in regards to his popularity. He doesn't need to do that, right? And so it's not just her. I've found with quite a few other people that are telling me similar things. Oh, Brad, I just think that this was a staged event. I said, no, guys, this is not a staged event. The only thing that was preconceived was the preparation to try and get a perpetrator on the roof and having law enforcement let it happen, right? That was the only thing that was preconceived. Everything else that took place was very real, okay? This was very much the real Trump. I just did a reading on that. This was very much a real event. I just did a reading on that, okay? And this is even what my own intuition is telling me. Like I said, I'm only giving you guys a perspective. You have to make up your own minds about this stuff. But no, I'm in complete and total disagreement with anybody who thinks that this is a staged event or that this wasn't the real Trump. Thinking that he was going to run off and go to a bar or something like that, or go to a sporting event while at the same time people are seeing him in Pennsylvania. That makes no sense, and that is a very stupid thing to do. Why would you have one Trump over here and another Trump over here? You see how stupid that is? That makes no sense whatsoever. So I'm sorry, but whoever's telling you that, I'm afraid they're incorrect. Okay? And I'm not trying to get in anyone's face or anything of that nature, but like I said, when a lot of people, because like I said, there are quite a lot of people who think this is a staged event. And guys, I've admitted staged events in the past, right? I've seen certain things, and I certainly see that there are things staged. Why? Because not only when I see it staged, I see other people who are behind the scenes saying that a lot of these dead bodies were dummies, right? There are mannequins in that way. And a lot of that is a staged event. What this was very real, right? Only preconception was getting the space ready for the dark player side to basically have a gunman on the roof, right? And the law enforcement pretty much ignore him, but that's not even how it happened, right? The counter sniper team basically took him out after the first couple of shots, right? There was even talk of a police officer that actually came up to the roof and saw him there, and he was actually trying to aim his rifle there, scaring the cop away. And I think that's basically what happened. Out of desperation, he fired, and that's probably what caused his the grazing of the ear to take place. This is a very real thing. But again, I'm only giving you guys a perspective on that, okay? Other people will say other things, and that's fine, but I'm only giving you my perspective on things. All right. Okay, so Sergeant says, hi, Brad. This is a donation from Sergeant. Thank you, Sergeant. Hi, Brad. Many people are expecting a bull run in the crypto market by 2025. Will the crypto market also crash by early 2025? Let's take a look and see what we got. So I did talk about Bitcoin, right? And I said that that is probably the coin you do not want to be involved with, because you know one of the big majority holders of Bitcoin is BlackRock, right? So like I said, that is a dark cult coin. So you want to be very, very careful with Bitcoin. They can be sabotaged at the drop of a hat. And all of your finances and investments towards Bitcoin could be gone like that. And you'll never see it again, right? So be very, very careful with investing in Bitcoin. What I would suggest right now, if you guys have Bitcoin, get rid of it, sell it, right? And move on to something else that's a little bit more viable. Okay? Bitcoin is probably the worst thing that you can invest in right now. And if you're invested in it, I would highly recommend, I'm not a financial consultant, but just from a lot of the energetics I'm seeing, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, and move into something better, because that is a dark cult coin. I feel it will be overhauled in time, but right now it still represents a dark cult coin altogether. Okay, so looking at Sergeant's question about the crypto market, will it crash by early 2025? I don't think crash is the right word, but I think it may have a temporary halt. There may be almost like a freezing of it, okay? But yeah, it is going to be going through some calamity. I don't know if it's going to be a crash, But to me, from what I'm seeing right now, is that it's looking to be rebooted, right? The entire crypto market, it feels like it's being deliberately held down, like with a lot of coins that actually have some good press with them. Feels like they're deliberately being held down so that the ones that are favored are basically getting the time in the sun, right? But the next step I see here is that there is going to be some battles taking place, right? So I think the cryptocurrency market is going to go through some shakeup. I think I don't know if it's going to be a crash, but it just feels like there's going to be some battles. There's going to be some infighting together with it all together, right? Because I think that the counterforces are basically going to start rebooting some of these cryptocurrency markets, because some of them are in the power, like I said, Bitcoin, and anything that may be associated with Bitcoin is basically in the dark court's hands. So there certainly needs to be some shifting that needs to take place there for them to no longer use the idea of Bitcoin. So I don't know if Bitcoin is going to be completely taken out of the picture. Again, this is the infighting here. There's a lot of infighting pertaining to the crypto market. So an overhaul, most definitely. A crash, I don't know. I'm not really sensing anything pertaining to a crash, but a halt, a clash, a fighting, an infighting, basically trying to get everything pertaining to the value of the cryptocurrencies that a lot of the dark cults have invested in, either making them worthless or purging it or something of that nature. Okay, so potential income is that it will get clean. But right now, the crypto markets are very unstable. Right, coins that actually should be getting a lot more praise and going up there a lot more are preventing that from happen, and that's from the dark cult's purse strings. Right. So to me, it feels like there's a clash, there's a battle happening right now with crypto markets. I can't say it'll be a crash, but it's certainly there's a fight, there's a war relating to crypto markets. So I think it will be better in the long run, because I was looking in to see if this is something about 2025, but this could be late 2025 for all I know. Right? So all I can say is that there's a fight going on with cryptocurrency. But I don't know if it's going to crash. I just know right now it's clashing, not crashing. Okay, thanks for your question. All right, let's go down a little bit further. How are we on time? Okay, we've got about 15 minutes. Okay. Just give me a minute here, guys. I'm just looking over some comments here. Okay, let's take a look at this question here from Carol Ann. Carol Ann says, "Hi, Brad. Can you please pull some cards on the vice president pick for JD Vance? Thank you." Okay, well, I'll kind of look and see exactly where he's going. Okay, that's kind of the reading that I'm doing right now. I'm doing kind of a 5-card reading where we're focusing on a subject and just finding exactly where that subject is going. Okay, it's quite a helpful tarot reading. So let's find out about JD Vance. I think a lot of people were expecting that Vivek Ramaswamy would actually be the vice president for Trump. But so I think a lot of people were shocked that JD Vance got the nod instead of him, right? But we'll see. Let's see exactly what JD Vance can offer, what he's about. I really don't even know anything about the guy, so I never even heard of him until he was announced. So I had no idea he even existed. So let's take a look and see what JD Vance is all about as a vice president. They say, "Oh, JD Vance." Like, who the hell is JD Vance? That's exactly how I saw it. But again, I don't follow politics, so big surprise, right? Okay, let's take a look. He means business. That's the whole idea. I think he's almost as stern and as intense as Trump is. Okay, he means business. He is a valuable asset to Trump's administration. Okay, this is really what I'm getting here, is that he's really going to bring order back. He's a powerhouse of a politician. Right? I don't even know if there is such a thing, but nonetheless, he's a powerhouse. He is a go-getter. He doesn't mind butting heads with people. I think he's also the kind of person that if Trump is doing something that's out of character, he'll be the first one to tell him. He's not an ass kisser, right? That's the good thing about JD Vance. He's not an ass kisser. He will very much get in your face if you're deviating from plans, right? I feel like he's kind of like holding Trump in a way and basically making sure that he steers in a way. To me, I feel like he has counterforce roots. Okay. So right here, I feel like there's a lot of momentum he's going to do. And I think he's kind of making himself much more known to people, right? And people are going to be researching him a lot more. And there are some people who say, oh, well, he used to be a Trump hater. He used to be a Trump hater. Yeah, he used to be. He certainly was. I could see those things happening. But as he started to reflect in regards to what Trump did as opposed to what Biden did, he came around. It kind of reminds me of the story, and I'm not trying to compare anything in that way. It reminds me that this feels like Trump's Apostle Paul. That's kind of what this reminds me of. It's kind of like the story of Saul who turned into Paul, right? And was basically Christ's greatest disciple. I'm not comparing Trump to that, but it kind of reminds me of that. That again, the Saul was all about the idea of trying to exterminate Jesus's disciples and all of that, and then he finally had a revelation, and he came around and he served the Christ. Right? To me, this just kind of feels like a Hollywood story in a way. That he was very much against Trump at the start, but a revelation happened. He had an epiphany, and now he follows Trump. Right? To me, he feels like Donald Trump's Apostle Paul. That's what he feels like to me. That's what I was getting to. There's kind of an Apostle Paul-like story here. It's very interesting. Like I said, that'll make a great movie. But no, his intentions are very, very pure. Okay, he is in that sense a very pure soul, and that's kind of the feeling I'm getting here. Yes, he's ready to go into battle. He's ready to suit up. He's ready to take down the corrupt alongside Trump. Okay, so he's very much. I feel like he's under divine protection at the same time. But I feel like there's going to be some big shakeup that he's going to do. He's ready to go into battle. He's like suiting himself up. So let me at him. I'll take them out. Right? That's his attitude. So he has a strength of he has a great charisma to himself. He has a great presence. Right? He even had that time in the military. Right? So he's a fighter. He is a great asset. And from what I'm seeing here, this is a greater asset on Trump's side than Vivek Ramaswamy is. Right? This guy means business. And like I said, he's not an ass kisser to Trump. He will put Trump in line if Trump tries to deviate from anything. He's kind of like a safeguard for Trump. And like his alliances basically really just scream counterforce. Right? Potential outcome, he's going to trample the dark cult. He wants to rip them apart. It's basically where he is right now. He says, I will fight right next to Trump, and you let me at them, I'll tear them to shreds. Right? That's basically where he is. He is a very powerful figure, like really powerful. I'd say he's almost on the same level as Trump. And I didn't really see that at first. I was like, oh, this guy, J.D. Vance, interesting, right? Because I can kind of look into his eyes, and there's a fire there, right? But I said, okay, I have to look into this guy a little bit more. He is he's not a Mike Pence, okay? He's not a Judas. Mike Pence could certainly be the Judas of Trump, but this man feels like the Apostle Paul of Trump. That's kind of what I'm getting here. He's very, very pure. He has very pure intentions. He really carries himself with ethics. He is very much for the people as well, too. So just as I can see him, if I'm tuning into him, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. He is a great asset to Trump. He is probably the greatest asset out of any other contact or connection that Trump could get. And I think Trump saw that. And the thing about Trump is he's majorly intuitive. He's very psychic. He's very intuitive. And he sees these things. He can see things that other people can't see. I said, J.D. Vance, why would you pick him? What's going on? Huh? What? I could bet that a lot of people just weren't seeing that. Why would you pick him? So no, guys, believe me. This is who I want as my running mate. You will see what he will do, right? And he could see it, right? To me, I don't think Mike Pence was his pick. I think Mike Pence was somebody that kind of came in through suggestion. I don't think Trump had a say regarding him. But Trump now has a say. And with J.D. Vance, very different story. Mike Pence was, you could say, a swine. But with J.D. Vance, completely different person, completely different energy. It's like he's his lieutenant, right? And he will follow Trump right into the field. He will go right into the trenches with him. Feels like he would even sacrifice his life to make sure Trump is safe, right? That's how dedicated he is. So this was an absolutely beneficial pick for a vice president. You could not ask for a better guy with him, right? And like I said, I don't really know him. This is just on me seeing his energy, right? He is a colossal benefit to the Trump administration. So that's what I'm getting. So Caroline, good question. Thanks for letting me know about that. Okay, because I forgot about JD Vance. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, this is from Betsy. Betsy says Alex Jones thinks that they're going to take out Biden via meds and that they will go after Trump again. Nothing in regards to disrespect to Alex Jones, but I really wouldn't trust Alex Jones if he told you the water was wet. Unfortunately, that guy puts way too much emotions in regards to his sharings, and I see it. He basically has sources that are not really reliable. He basically gets completely and totally over emotional relating to these situations that are unfolding, and he wants to see events that he would prefer. He is an unreliable source of information. And I'm not saying anything personally to Alex Jones. I'm sure he's a wonderful person inside, but he's too emotionally compromised. He's too emotionally compromised. He puts way too much, he wears too much of his emotions on his sleeve, and he'll believe basically the first thing that any of his quote unquote contacts tell him, even when his contacts are bullshitting him. And a lot of his contacts have bullshitted him. And I do not feel that he is a viable source of information. Okay? That's just me. Nothing against him personally. Like I said, I won't go into personal opinions of people, but professionally, he is much more of a disinfo agent than anybody else. Okay? So I wouldn't trust him any further than I could throw him. Right? I wouldn't believe him if he said water was wet. So that's just my own perspective of him in that sense. No, they're not going to take out this guy. This is Biden's avatar in that sense. I don't feel he's going to be taken out, but I think he's going to kind of exit stage left a little bit, right? He's going to still be preserved because he has immunity, right? You can't just throw away immunity. That avatar has immunity on him, okay? But he's going to be basically taken out the far left. He'll be joining all the other criminal buddies and Obama and so forth, right? Because they have immunity, right? Some of them are already dead, but some of them have avatars, and those avatars have immunity. See, that's the thing. These guys don't know how the occult game is played. You can't just take out somebody who has immunity. It can't be done. That needs to come from the higher up. And they basically say, nope, you keep them around. Keep them around. Because if we take them out in that way, then there's going to be a lot of suspicions around that. Okay? So no, I do not agree with that at all. I think that the avatar is still going to be around. If he leaves in regards to his conditions that he has, right? Because he is very, very ill in many different ways. So, but no, I do not feel the dark cult is going to touch him. They're just going to pull up the cane and push him off and exit stage left, right? And he'll join all the other buddies in the background. They're basically all going to go down anyways to the counter forces at some particular point, because the counter forces are now getting to the point where they can override immunity. They're getting to that point. But basically right now in front of the scenes, they have immunity. So this is where I say, Alex Jones doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Okay. And I'm just looking at that from a professional opinion. He doesn't, because he's not understanding how the occult works. You can't do that, right? This is a man who has immunity, and he has to play his role out in front of the scenes. And even when he does, he'll still have some of that immunity until the counter forces may basically overthrow it. And then maybe that will happen. But they don't really need to go after that guy, because that's not the real Joe Biden. Okay, that is an actor. That is an avatar. Same thing with Justin Trudeau. Real Justin Trudeau is gone. That's his avatar. That's his doppelganger. Okay. Many different world leaders basically have avatars right now, because the real ones were already taken out, and these people really don't mean anything to them. They're just doppelgangers that are following scripts. That's it. And so just push them aside. Who cares? Don't know about him, right? It's not the real person, so who cares? They're putting on an act anyways. Right? It's a very different world in front of the scenes. You have actors. It's like professional wrestling. They go out, they be this bad character, they go behind the scenes, and they're just themselves again, right? That is basically how I see it. Is the actors that are coming on a stage, portraying a character, they go off screen, and they're themselves, right? And don't really need to waste their time with it. Those are actors. That's not the actual person. If it's the actual person, different story, okay? So again, my own perspective is I wouldn't trust Alex Jones any further than I could throw him. Okay. But that's just my perspective altogether. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to comment on this briefly because we just had another comment about this previously. Judith says, I'm confused by Janine reading. I said that was not Trump and it was organized by the White Hats. I guess people believe it was not Trump. The thing is, like I said, I have nothing but love and respect for Janine. I love her. She's wonderful. She's a friend of mine. I think she's a wonderful person. But I just honestly don't agree with what she's shared with you guys, okay? And this is where you guys have to learn to discern. You may find something that maybe I say that you don't agree with, but because you think I have all of this, great capability and so forth, you don't want to basically believe it in that way. And that is where you're in error. You need to let go of that. I don't mind a person who wants to butt heads with me, who wants to give me constructive criticism, because, guys, I love debates. I kind of like getting in people's faces. That's just how I am, right? Not in an aggressive, rough way or anything, but I enjoy debates. I enjoy debating with a person. If a person came up and said, Brad, you know what? That whole thing that you said about this person and that person, well, I have to disagree with you because this is what I think. Oh, great. I'm like salivating. Great. Let's go. Let's do this. Okay. And that's great. I have no problem with a person that comes up to me with constructive criticism or a constructive debate and wants to duke it out with me. I'll be the first to put on my gloves. Right? That's how I am, right? I'm a fighter. I'm a lover too, but I'm a fighter too. The fight just basically looks into verbal debate. Of course, I'm not like looking to duke it out with anybody, but basically I get into debate. I'm a debating like person, right? But again, I will look into that. And so great, this is fantastic. I'm glad that someone's coming to me and having constructive criticism, because then we can have a really good debate here, right? That's me. That's my nature, right? So I'm not saying anything personally to Janine. I love her. I think she's a wonderful person. But just in regards to whatever she has shared, like I said, you guys have already heard me talk about it. I disagree. Okay. I don't know Janine's motives of why she shares that. I can only assume that she's very much worked up emotionally, and that there's something here that she wants to basically pan out without actually looking to it deeper. So I don't know. But I have nothing but love and respect for her. But I'm not in agreement with what she said at all. But like I said, guys, don't be afraid that if somebody veers off course, most importantly, you should be looking at this in here. You should be discerning everything from your heart, right? And a lot of you do, and that's great. But stick with it, right? If somebody says something that doesn't resonate with you, if I say something that doesn't resonate with you, don't dismiss what your heart is telling you, okay? Well, Brad says this, but my heart is saying that. Then go with your heart. I'm not your God. I'm not your deity. If you put me on a pedestal, I will be the first to kick it down. Okay? Don't put me on a pedestal. Don't put anybody on a pedestal, right? Person who is actually wise will be the first one to look at that pedestal and give it a powerful sidekick and kick it down to the ground. I am not your deity. I am not the information gospel source, right? Everything I'm sharing here, guys, is perspective. And I would expect you to be the same with anybody else that's out there, whether it's Janine, whether it's Isabella, whether it's Breanne, whether it's anybody, okay? Nothing should override your own heart feeling. This is where the truth is. What I'm sharing with you is what I've gotten from the truth and sharing it as a perspective. And some of you may resonate with that, some of you may not. And it's great. If you resonate with it, fantastic. If you don't, hey, that's okay too. Put it on the side. Please don't put me on a pedestal, because I'll kick the mofo down, okay? So please don't do that. And please don't put anybody else on a pedestal. They don't deserve it, okay? The only one that should be on your heightened pedestal is yourself, going all the way up to spirit, right? That pedestal is reserved for one, and it is going up because spirit is with you, not because of your ego. Ego doesn't deserve a pedestal. The only pedestal that's true is the spirit pedestal that you put yourself on because God is taking you up. All right? So please be aware of that. Do not worry about wasting your time debating why one person says this and another person says that. What do you say? What is in your heart? What do you feel? That's what you need to stick with. Not what I say, not what anybody else says. I don't care if you kick me to the curb. Believe me, I'll be all right. But if it's something in that sense that resonates with you, fantastic. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Throw it away. Trust your heart. Don't trust a personality outside of you. Okay? That's nothing. This is where the truth is. All right? Judith, that's what I can share about that. Okay, guys, we are out of time. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I really enjoyed your questions. This recording will be available, so I suggest just sharing it with your friends, your family. We had a lot of great conversations today, so please feel free to share it. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. That really helps out this channel as well too. And I will see you guys next week for another episode of Wisdom Transmissions on Wednesday, and on Thursday another Signpost. Now here's what I'm thinking of doing coming in August. This is another announcement. I'm thinking of putting together an Adronis Patreon, okay? Where again, you'll basically just pay a small monthly fee each month, and you'll have weekly classes with Adronis. You'll have weekly discourses with Adronis. If this sounds good, guys, let me know, right? Because I'm considering of creating an Adronis Patreon, okay? For Patreon members, they'll be able to come in. There'll be videos specifically for you guys. If it's good stuff, maybe I'll share little snippets with YouTube. But this will basically be kind of like a private Patreon group where you guys will be able to talk to Adronis entirely for 2 hours, right? And there may be like a little perk as well too for some people to get like a 1 hour session with him each month as well. If that's something you guys want me to do, you can certainly share your support with that, because I'm considering doing that probably in August, okay? Having an Adronis Patreon and just talking to Adronis, right? About anything, personal, professional, general, anything of that nature. And it'll be for the Patreon members. Like I said, if it's stuff that's really good, that's general, I might share it on YouTube, but all the full information will stay on Patreon. So I'm considering that. Let me know if you guys really want me to do that, and that will just drive me to do it quicker. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Take care, and I'll talk to you again next week. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaskar, and may it be well with you. Bye for now.